With 2023 already somehow being halfway over, I wanted to briefly share with you what I think are the best movies of the year so far. I am not going to be talking about every movie that I've seen so far. Instead, I'm going to be talking about a small handful of movies that have really stood out to me. And like I said before, I want to keep these thoughts brief because I want to have enough to talk about at the end of the year if these movies end up making my top 10 list too. And now with all that out of the way, I hope you enjoy this video. If you do, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. And be sure to give my Letterboxd page a follow where I have reviews for movies both old and new. Anyway, let's get started. The beginning of the year was rough for movies, as it usually is. It wasn't miserable or anything like that, it was just that no movies released during the first few months of 2023 really stuck out to me, out of the ones that I had seen. And thankfully, all that changed in late March when I saw John Wick 4. This movie and the John Wick saga in general are achievements on so many different levels. For one thing, each installment in this franchise is better than the last. It's very rare to see a movie saga achieve such amazing consistency from start to finish. And I don't know how they do it, but Chad Stahelski and crew keep raising the bar with the fight choreography, elaborate set pieces, and fascinating world building. And John Wick 4 is the magnum opus of this beautiful work. This movie gave us some of the longest, most exciting, and most adrenaline-pumping action sequences I have ever seen, and it had me on the edge of my seat the entire time. Not only is John Wick 4 a high-octane thrill ride all throughout, but it's also an amazing conclusion to John Wick's character arc and story. Or so we thought. Next up on this list, I have, now prepare yourselves, an MCU movie. But rightfully so. This movie is arguably the best MCU offering we have received since Endgame. It is filled with non-stop laughter, amazing visual effects, and it emphasizes the importance of family. And I'm of course referring to the one and only Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which I can say with confidence is definitely going to be the last amazing MCU movie we get for a long time. Much like with John Wick 4, Guardians 3 serves as an incredible conclusion for an incredible group of unique characters. This movie, in my opinion, solidifies the Guardians as some of the best developed characters in all of the MCU, with Rocket Raccoon and Star-Lord especially standing out. Not to mention, this movie has some of the best visual effects I have seen out of the MCU in forever, and as always, the soundtrack is amazing. It's sad to see James Gunn and the Guardians leave the MCU, but at the same time, I am so unbelievably grateful that this movie actually ended up getting made, and that Gunn, along with the other Guardians members, are all leaving on such an incredible high note. It truly does feel like the end of an era, and these next few years for the MCU are gonna be rough, to say the least. If you're planning to abandon the MCU, please make Guardians 3 your last watch. It is more than worth it. Moving from one Marvel movie to the next, we have SpiderMan, Across the Spiderverse, which was also my most anticipated movie for the year, obviously, and I am more than happy to report that this movie delivered. I'm still at a loss for words about this movie. Hopefully I will have my thoughts more collected by the end of the year, but for now, all I can say is this movie is incredible, for one thing, and it is art. So many different, unique animation styles and frame rates and colors are all brought together, and it's so beautiful to see unfold on screen. You can see the passion and the dedication and the personality of every animator that worked on this movie in every single frame. It's absolutely beautiful. Not to mention, the movie is just amazing in general. It has a great story, it has amazing stakes, so many cool and different settings with all the different dimensions that are showcased. And of course, there's that insane cliffhanger, which gets me so incredibly hyped for Beyond the Spider-Verse, I can barely contain my excitement. Across the Spider-Verse is an absolute blast, and it's one of the most inspiring and magical movie viewing experiences I have ever experienced. I can already tell you right now, this is probably going to be my #1 pick for the best movie of the year, because honestly, I don't know what else could top it. I will be very surprised if something else is able to top this. And the last movie I'm going to talk about today is Rye Lane. Most of you probably haven't heard of this one, and I don't blame you. It's an indie rom-com on Hulu, but this rom-com is different in that it's actually funny and not cheesy. Not to mention, it's also a great hangout movie. Hangout movies can be hit or miss for me. The lack of plot that these movies have can either really drag it down, or it can benefit the movie and allow it to focus more on providing good vibes. And that's what Rye Lane is to me. It's just a really good hangout movie. One of the best I've seen, actually. And that's mainly thanks to the amazing chemistry between the two leads. David Johnson and Vivian Oparah are so dynamic together, and they are what make this movie more than worth your time. Because of them, Rye Lane is engaging, funny, and just a really wholesome love story. And those are my picks for the best movies from the first half of 2023. As mentioned before, I haven't seen everything that's come out, and I've only talked about movies that I consider to be 9 and 10 out of 10s. So please don't say I don't have taste, please. Please, I'm working on it. When it comes time to talk about the best movies at the end of the year, I will have an actual full list. But until then, thank you for watching this video. Leave me your picks for the best movies of the year so far in the comments, subscribe for more content, follow my letterbox for more reviews, and I will see you all in the next video.